What's up, Game Devs? T-Chan here, and welcome to episode 42 of Game Dev Loadout, where I chat with the best people in the game industry 7 days a week. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast for a new daily episode filled with valuable information. And now let's chat with today's featured guest, Brandon Sheffield. Brandon, it is a go time. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. He is the director of indie game studio Necrosoft Games. He is the former editor-in-chief of Game Developer Magazine and occasionally writes for publications like Gamasutra.com, Sam, and Vice. He is also the advisor to multiple game conferences and competitions, including GDC, Reboot, Digital Dragons, and others. So go ahead, Brandon, give us a bit about your personal life and how you got started in the game industry.
So I guess I got started in the game industry through the journalism angle, because when I was in college, I was studying film and television, but I decided I didn't like that very much. So when I was graduating from college, my girlfriend at the time was like, my parents need to know what you're going to do for a living. And I was like, that's a little strange. Because, what do they need to know what I'm going to do? But anyway, it made me think about it, and I had already started a website called Insert Credit back then, and it was pretty popular. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just do this. I guess I'll do this thing I'm already doing. So I started writing more about video games, looked for a job doing that, wound up finding it with Game Developer Magazine, and I did that for 8 or 9 years, and then I got bored. I started making games halfway through, because since the magazine was supposed to be by game developers for game developers, it actually kind of made a lot of sense for me to be making games. So I started in around 2006, doing writing for video games, and then when I quit Game Developer Magazine to go indie, that's when I started doing this stuff in earnest, leading a team and making games.
Nice. And I've seen your video game, which takes place in my homeland, which is Cambodia, Angkor Wat. And my wife saw it, so she thought that was pretty cool. So good job on that.
Nice.
What do you consider your main area of expertise at the moment?
So I guess I'm the creative director of our company, but our company is very small. So I wind up doing business development, marketing, writing in the games, and basically production, anything that's not code, art, and audio. So I'm rarely putting assets into the game aside from text, but I have to do a lot of the stuff that surrounds the development of the game.
For people that are starting off their own indie, what is something we probably don't know that we should know when starting like an indie company and leading a small team?
Yeah, well, you should definitely form a company, because a lot of people don't do that. They wind up just, kind of hanging out, making a thing, but they haven't made a company. And as soon as you form a company, you can start, if you're working from home, you can start writing off part of your home office kind of stuff. You can write off research purchases like games. You can write off if you've got to buy a new laptop to do better work, some percentage of that gets written off. So that's pretty important. It's also really important to make contracts with the people that you're working with, because even if you're buddies and stuff, things come up and you want everybody to be protected from that, them and you. And, I know folks who worked with a friend of theirs that they'd known for 10 years, and some disagreement came about, and he wound up holding their game kind of at ransom because he hadn't checked in the latest build, and in order to get more money or more power, and they hadn't signed a contract because they'd been friends for a long time. But it's really important to do that, and even for people that are working for you, it's important for them too, because if say you run out of money, they've got this document that says you got to pay me this eventually,
Yeah, it's like that peace of mind, that contract. It is important, because in the end, something might fall out and someone might not pulling the end of their end of the bargain, and they don't have no contract, so there's no like pressure or anything like that to make them do anything. And yeah, it's just a peace of mind. And you make another great point is the business where you can write off your stuff that you're doing for business. I didn't even think about that, or actually forgot about that. So I need to start doing that.
No, you should. It's really important. It's a big part of the way that I'm able to keep going is the fact that like I basically spend as much money as I earn in a year. I'm able to, pay rent, get food, like go out to dinner like a couple times a month or something like that. But with an indie game company, it's quite common to struggle or completely fail or go bankrupt or whatever else. But if you take advantage of the things that exist around you, then you can do a lot better. And this is actually not something that you should do at the start, but something you should do after you've made a game or after you've made most of a game. Like this is what I talk about at conferences. I'm going to talk about this at Casual Connect in August. But once you've got a game, you should be selling it to platforms, small platforms, especially if you're a small team. Basically, the way that we do stuff is rather than, working on a game for many years until it's the perfect pure vision of what we want to do and then release that on all platforms at once. We make something good, like a vertical slice that's better than a prototype, but isn't the final vision. It's like a smaller version of what we're ultimately going to do. And then we sell that to new platforms that will give you money to put games on their platform. Basically, new platforms that are starting up. And then once we've done that, then we keep working on a new version of it that's better, sell that to another platform, and then keep going like that until the game is as close to our final vision as possible. And then we release that wider on all platforms. So we actually did this with our game Gunhouse. It first came out for PlayStation Mobile, and Sony paid for the development of that. And then Windows Mobile needed games at the time, and so Microsoft and Nokia gave us a grant to do that.
Wow.
And then after that, we put it on Amazon devices because my programmer needed a new phone. And so I was like, all right, if you give us some tablets and a phone, then we'll put it on there. Because it was only going to take us a couple days. So we got a new phone.
That's awesome.
And then we put it on iOS, funded by ourselves. But because we had gone through this process, the game was a lot better. And so when we put it on Android, we actually got a feature, and we were in their independent game festival that they had. But then we didn't stop there because the game we basically considered the game done. But then we found some additional avenues to put the game out and get a little bit more money out of it, and also make the game a little bit better. And every time we're making the game better, bigger, more enjoyable for people, but we're also getting little bits of money. And so that's how we've been able to sustain. We've probably made somewhere between 16 and 20 times as much through selling the game to platforms as we have selling the game to consumers.
That is incredible. And I'm still kind of confused. How exactly do you sell it to a platform? Like, what do you do? What's the step for that?
So it's not easy, but you basically have to be looking for new platforms as they're cropping up, talking to people that may be doing something different or weird. Just basically, if you've got a local community, talk to them, see what they're looking at. If people have approached them, definitely go to things like GDC, Casual Connect, whatever shows you can get to, and just see what's there. Like, there's this platform called Tizen, which is, I believe, Samsung's marketplace. And if you've got a game in Unity, it's going to take you like a week probably to make sure everything's working smoothly on that platform. Now, they won't give you money straight up, but there aren't that many good games on there. And through October, if you put your game on there and it gets into the top 100, they will give you $10,000.
Whoa. Oh man, we gotta definitely look into that.
Yeah. So like there are all these little platforms that are weird and who knows what they're all about, but there's got to be somebody doing some research like that. And there's always, of course, selling in other countries. Like, Iran has a burgeoning game development community and game buying public. Or, Southeast Asia. There are like different providers in Singapore, in Thailand, in Malaysia, etc. And they all want different stuff. And there are subscription services. There's just all these little kinds of things. You just got to look out for those, try to find somebody to contact there and see how it goes. And the more you start doing that stuff, the more people start coming to you about it.
Yeah, do the research, find those platforms, and go out there and see if you could be on it. Oh, that is incredible. Now, let's take this on a more personal level now. And now that you finally got your game created and you went through the process, what was the worst moment of your career? That one moment that's still vivid in your mind. Be very detailed and tell us that personal story.
So I can't be 100% detailed because I'm not allowed to. But probably one of the worst things was when I had a game that was a 40-person team that I was narrative director of get canceled.
Oh.
Like less than a year from being finished. And we had worked really hard on it. The team was really good and it was all coming together. And it's a type of game that you still don't see enough of. And so it was really disappointing because we got so far and we were really getting into a groove and getting the thing done. And but that cancellation was pretty much what inspired me to go completely independent myself and not work for other people as much, because I figured if I was going to do it, I was probably going to have to do it by myself in order to, make sure that the rug couldn't get pulled out from under me that way.
Yeah, so like the thing you've been working on for so long just doesn't just stop or disappear. And
yeah.
What do you want to make sure a game does take away from that experience? What if, like you said, their games get canceled all of a sudden? What should they do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess just accept that you're going to be depressed for a little while, and but then get back on there and try to do something else. Make sure you've got some other things in your life that are going on, that some other creative outlets, so you don't feel totally trapped.
Oh yeah, like you said, of course it's going to be depressed. I'm pretty sure that's a part of it. But as long as you keep doing something, just keep yourself occupied, work on a different project, work on a mini project, just keep yourself occupied. And what is the best investment you've made? And it can be investment of money, time, or energy. And how did you decide to make that investment?
Probably the best investment I made was time and interest in my current programmer, actually. Because he's like stuck around through thick and thin and has always been like, really, there's so many times where if he didn't exist, then I probably would have just gone and worked for somebody else, because like, it can get disheartening when things are, when there was this time when we had $200,000 in handshake deals. Like everybody was like, all right, we're definitely doing these things. We got $200,000, and that was us set for the next year, basically. And we're going to have multiple projects finished and stuff. We were going to staff up. And then 2 months later, all those things disappeared for various reasons. And we went from definitely we had $200,000 to having zero. And I had $2,000 left in the bank, and I was like, man, I gotta probably go get a job because this is not sustainable. But he was like, all right, listen, I'm gonna move back in with my parents, and I'm gonna keep working for you for free, and if you can find us the money, then we can get it back together. And so I pulled it together. I found the money. I was after a year of him working without pay, I paid him everything that I owed. But it's hard to find a person like that. And so just if he was the guy who just came to me and was like, I wanna work with you. And I was like, all right, let's see what we can figure out. And I didn't have any job for him at the time, but he seemed like a smart guy with similar taste who just wanted to work on cool stuff. And I was like, well, I got to find a way to work with this guy. And if I hadn't, I don't know, my company might be gone.
Wow, yeah, and that's awesome because you need those kind of teammates that you could depend on, that you could trust. How did you, or what did you do to like keep them? Like, how did you like not make them go away, or I don't know what's the word for it, but just like
Yeah.
keep them there with you.
Yeah, I guess it's like employee retention or whatever you might
Yeah.
call it. I think it was largely through, part of it was his own personality and stuff, but um, it's mostly through kind of figuring out how every person on your team communicates and what they like, what their working style is, and if you can meet them halfway on that, then that's something. But the other thing is just working on projects that people actually like and that they have a lot of agency in and that they think are cool. That goes a long way too. Like in my company, we tend to have a pretty good vibe. I mean, it doesn't always work out with everybody that we hire, but there's kind of an understanding that everybody that's working on this game is responsible for the part of the game that they're responsible for, but my say is the final say. So people have a lot of freedom, but when there are questions, the person that answers it is me. And so I don't know, it sounds kind of dictatorial in a way, but it's basically like we're working on this together, but there has to be someone at the end of the day who says yes or no to something to make sure that we're all going in the same direction. So I guess that's probably how that happened, something like that.
Yeah, you're the one that's making the executive decision in the end. Of course, you're
Right.
still taking in their inputs, but in the end, you're the one that still have to make the final decision. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. What is the one thing you're most excited about today in the game industry?
Today, I think the thing I'm most excited about is, I don't know, this sounds kind of silly, but the resurgence of physical goods like niche packaged games.
Ooh,
Things like limited run and indies being able to put their games on Switch cartridges and stuff. I think that's a kind of like a fun and exciting new. It's not new actually because it's the oldest kind of avenue, but for independent game devs, it's kind of a new avenue to release things. And like right now, we're making a manual for the first time ever because this kind of thing is kind of popular again. So that's fun. I guess it's the small things that give me enjoyment and being able to make a 12-page color manual with a with a comic in it and a bunch of cute little nonsense that makes me happy.
yeah, that is awesome because I've been buying games for the longest, and the last game that surprised me was like Witcher 3 when it like came in with like I think a map and a music CD, and I was like so surprised. Like, oh, what is this? I haven't seen this type of thing for a long time. So yeah, it's really awesome getting stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget Game Devs. You can check out my website for all the show notes. And now we have reached crunch time. So Brandon, basically, I will ask you quick questions and you'll be giving us a ton of valuable information in return. Are you ready to crush it and release this show?
All right, let's see if I can do it.
What was holding you back from becoming a game developer?
Oh, probably my own self being a lack of confidence, I think, was holding me back. But then I had to get rid of it, and now I'm doing okay.
What did you do to get rid of that kind of fear or scare?
I realized that nobody knows exactly what they're doing. Everybody is winging it, and as long as you treat other people with respect and you're very honest with people and you approach people genuinely, basically anything can happen. I love the game Streets of Rage 3. I love the music in that game, and when I wanted a soundtrack for our game Oh Dear, I was like, this guy would be perfect. So I just sent him a message on Twitter. I wasn't embarrassed about it. I wasn't like, please, sir, can you do this thing? I was like, hey, would you like to work on this? And he's like, sure, let's do it. And then he did it.
And that's so awesome about asking. You just got to simply ask, and what's the worst going to happen? Like,
Yeah.
you just got to ask. What's a personal habit that contributes to your success?
Oh, I guess a personal habit would probably be my desire to keep in contact with people. So keeping up those relationships long term. Ever since I was in Game Developer Magazine, when I was, interviewing all these folks, or, talking to younger game devs or whatever, keeping in touch with all of these people. Nowadays, when it's like, hey, do I know anybody that's doing this thing? Usually I do. Or if a friend is looking for a job, I'm like, all right, who do I know at Riot? Oh, I know the CEO. Okay, that's great. Keeping these relationships up has probably been one of the better things for my career.
Oh yeah, that's great advice. Networking and creating that meaningful relationship. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I don't know if I could say the best advice I've ever received, but I got like a really quick style game design primer consultation from Hirokazu Yasuhara, who is the guy who did all the maps for Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and Sonic R and stuff. He's like a venerable game developer. But when he was he gave me all these pearls of wisdom, which I can't exactly share right now. But I would say that was the most useful thing that I received. It wasn't exactly advice, but it was great.
I'm gonna have to get him on an interview to make him tell us.
Yeah.
How has a failure set you up for later success?
Well, I guess all the times that we've lost contracts and, run out of money and stuff has set me up so that got me thinking about how I always have to have a contingency plan. So, these days when I got one thing that falls through, I got a couple more things waiting in the wings that should be able to work.
I like that backup plan.
Yeah.
Share an internet resource we game devs should use.
Oh, well, I guess Gamasutra is a good one, but I write stuff for them sometimes. And following Mike Acton with all of his kind of game dev questions and tips that he does, that's pretty good too. Other than that, Sean Barrett has a lot of good tools and stuff. And I don't know how you say it. Imgui. I don't know what it is. IMGUI is how it's spelled. Made by Omar Cornut, and it's like a free open source GUI that's constantly being updated, and it's great to use, and you can learn a lot from it as well.
I would definitely link those up. Now, this next question is a bit of a doozy, so take your time if you need to. Imagine you woke up the next morning in a brand new world and you knew no one. You still have all the experience and knowledge you currently have today. Your food and shelter is taken care of and you have a laptop. What would you do step by step on the path to become a great game developer?
Oh man, that's something. Well, it's with my food and board taken care of, I would probably actually start studying how to program so that I could do more stuff on my own. But in addition to that, I would start figuring out what area I'm in and what other game developers might be in the area, and see if I could just go meet up with them and talk to them. And even if I know nobody, if I've got my experiences, I should have something to share with people. So I might be able to forge some of those connections and start building up a team again.
There you go. Now, we have reached the end. Go ahead and give us a parting piece of guidance in how we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Necrosofty, and my game company at Necrosoft Games. And our website is necrosoftgames.com. It's all pretty easy. And feel free to follow me, hit me up, send me an email if you want to. My email's easy to find, and I'm always answering people's questions, and I got like little mentor things that I do sometimes. So feel free to drop me a line. And yeah, it's been a pleasure.
You got a parting piece of guidance you want to leave us?
Oh, guidance. Yeah. Parting piece of guidance would be cultivate your taste. Figure out what it is that you truly like and why you like it, because there are too many boring games out there in the world that are just like, I like Minecraft, so I made Minecraft. Or I like Mario, so here's something that's exactly like Mario, except it's got a cat. And that's, figure out what you like. I actually did a GDC micro talk about some ways to do this, but try to figure out what you like and why you like it, and put that into your game so that we can stop making boring games.
Yes, we need to see more unique and awesome games. Brandon, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, and for that, we are truly grateful. We look forward to your future work, and until then, we will catch you next time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Game Devs, for listening, and remember that knowledge is only potential power. Execution is the game. I am so excited to announce our first sponsored giveaway with Game Dev Underground, where a winner can get a free 1-hour consultation with the founder, Tim Rusbeck. So if you have any questions on building and launching your game, get on this giveaway ASAP. This is a $1,000 value, and it can be yours. All you have to do is go to the show notes page at GameDevLoadout.com and sign up for my email list. That's it. So until then, keep on making great games, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.